Hi everybody, I'm here with Here Come the Rebels, published in 1993 by Avalon Hill, designed by Joseph Balkowski. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And this is the second volume of the Avalon Hill series, Great Campaigns of the American Civil War. I've now been playing this game for over a month, and I could simply not get enough of it. So I noticed on BoardGameGeek that there are no videos about this game, and I thought it would be nice to make a video about it and to show my enthusiasm for this game. I entered the hobby not too long ago, and of course playing the most recent games, which were the most debated and the most advertised on the websites, and slowly I made my way back to what you may define as classics. And I must say that the accuracy and the perfect balance between complexity and playability of a game such as Here Come the Rebels just really make you love this hobby more and more. Differently than what I usually do with my videos, I'm gonna shoot a few short clips explaining the rules of the game, merely based on the fact that there are no reviews at all of the game. So I usually don't like explaining rules because, or at least I don't like reviews that basically are rules explanation, because I don't think that they really give a sense of what the game is about. But in order to approach this game and to show the complexity of the strategical decisions that the player is asked to make during the game, it's important to go over a few basic rules. Let's start with an overview of the units and the most important markers in the game. We have army leaders, corps leaders, combat units, which may be either infantry or cavalry, and a marker that states the manpower and combat value of each unit, and during the game is placed underneath the unit. Let's start with this. This counter has two sides. This is the full strength size. This one is the disorganized side. Now, when the unit is in, when the counter is in its organized side, this number here, 11, is both the manpower and the combat value. But when the unit is disorganized, then we have two numbers. The one in the lower right corner here is the manpower value, and the one in the upper left corner is the combat value. The combat units come in two sides. The front is the in supply status, and the back indicates the out of supply status. The supply in this game is checked only in the advanced scenarios and not in the basic scenarios, which constitute the majority of the game. The combat units have two values here. The value on the right is the number of artillery associated with the units, and this one, the number on the left, is the tactical value of the unit. Leaders, which must always be attached to a unit, have two values. The number on the right is the command value, and we'll see later what this value is for, and on the left a tactical value. Army leaders have only one value, and is a command value. Command values are used only in combat in certain kind of combats that I will later explain. This is a demoralized marker. This belongs to the Union, not to the Confederate units, which are the grey units here. And the demoralized counter is applied to a unit as a result of may be applied to certain units as a result of combat, and basically helps the power strength and reduces to zero the artillery associated with the units. And these are super important counters because these mark the fatigue levels of the of every unit. Anytime a unit performs a move or certain actions that we'll see, the unit gains 1 fatigue points. We have 1 and 2, and then when the unit gets a third, we change counter and we use this orange one that, as you can see, has a writing that says extended march. When the unit reaches fatigue level 3 or 4, the unit must check to see if in the long march hasn't lost any men. So if it doesn't, if the man power value isn't reduced by 1. The first important phase of the game is the action phase, which is basically when the players take turn in performing actions, and differently than the majority of the war game, players must roll 2 dice to determine who has the initiative for every action phase. So let's say that the first action phase, the Confederate by the way win every tie. The Confederate get the initiative. The initiative, after the Confederate player performs an action, combat, march, we'll see, the initiative doesn't automatically pass to the other player, but you must roll again. So it is possible that one player may activate several units in a row while the other waits. And some scenarios, of course, may give some limits to some units who can activate only at certain turns of the game, or they cannot activate at all and they can just defend and hold their position and so on. So the activation phase is quite easy. A turn ends when both players pass, and because they have either no more units to activate, or they decide not to activate any more units. A unit can be activated as long as its fatigue level is no more than 3. In the moment a unit reaches fatigue level 4, it cannot be activated anymore. The only thing a unit can do once the fatigue level 4 is reached is to defend. Now, the first important action, there are basically 2 important actions that the player can perform. The first one is, of course, movement. How is movement determined?